The president says the alt-left bears some responsibility for the violence in Virginia. Plus, human-caused fires continue to stress firefighting resources, and crews have a long road ahead of them to clean up a coal train derailment near Knoxon.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Ariana Lake. Emergency managers say some people across northwest Montana are making some very dangerous decisions this summer. Stage 2 restrictions are still in effect across the area, but that's not stopping some people from having campfires and creating very hazardous conditions that, in the end, firefighters have to take care of.
The emergency services folks are having a bit of frustration with citizens and visitors to the area continuing to have fires that they're not supposed to have with the Stage 2 restrictions.
Officials tell us that some of those fires have actually been started from campfires, burning garbage, and even setting off fireworks. Last month, firefighting resources were dispatched to 241 fire incidents in the Flathead. Since August 1st, already 35 wildland fires and 39 illegal burn incidents have happened in our area. And on top of that, 21 cases of illegal fireworks have been reported. While we have seen cooler temperatures recently, authorities want to remind people these restrictions are still in place.
Like the grass in the back, 1 hour after the rain goes away, they could be completely dried out. With warm, dry wind like this, we're right up back to the extreme fire danger that we've been in the past 10 days or more.
As a reminder, the fire danger remains extreme on the Flathead Indian Reservation, and those Stage 2 fire restrictions continue across northwest and western Montana. We'll turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost now for a quick look at conditions out there tonight. Aaron?
79 for that high today in Kalispell. Not too bad. At least we topped out much closer to average. We did see a very chilly morning low too. 36 degrees, actually a new record low for this date. With this, the nice little change we've seen recently with the clearer air and cooler temperatures, it's already starting to change back to the same old air quality alerts starting to be issued now. This one for Missoula County. For us, it's just a matter of time before smoke and haze start to settle into the valley once again. We're expecting a very dry and warm pattern right ahead of us. Details on the way.
Thanks, Aaron. Tonight, firefighters will use an infrared camera to find heat sources and suppress hot spots on the Gibraltar Ridge fire. That's burning near Eureka. The nearly 1,900-acre lightning-sparked fire is 12% contained following a few days of humid and cooler weather. Crews continued efforts today to protect structures while holding the fire along the Foothills Road. Previously evacuated residents were allowed back to their homes yesterday. If you are among those, you need to sign in and provide contact information at the checkpoint located at Lick Lake and get a permit to put in your car. Non-residents are not allowed in the closure areas. And the lightning-sparked Sprague fire has now burned an estimated 100 acres in Glacier National Park. It's located in the west side of the park above Crystal Ford on the Gunsight Trail. That's the main access trail to the Sperry Chalet. Park officials say that depending on fire behavior, that chalet may remain closed for the rest of the season. The structures at Sperry Chalet are not immediately threatened by the fire at this time. However, the park is prepared to implement protection in case it's necessary. While other fires within the park have been contained or are being staffed at this time, a fire was reported in the North Fork area of the park on Sunday. The Adair Peak fire was burning in heavy duff in a remote area. For the latest on the backcountry permits and trail closures because of these fires, you can check out our website. And I do want to update you tonight on a couple smaller fires burning in our region today. The Tamarack fire in northwest Montana holding at just under 300 acres. It's burning in very remote terrain between Kalispell and Libby. It was started by lightning during a storm on Friday night and was first detected early Saturday morning. A Type 2 incident management team took over command of the Tamarack fire today, as they're also taking control of the nearby Peoples fire. That's burned about 100 acres and is reported to be at about 70% containment. And the Blue Bay fire burning east of Polson above Montana Highway 35 has now torched 55 acres. The lightning spark blaze is burning in the mountains above the Finley Point area. There are over 50 firefighters assigned to fight that fire, which is not threatening any structures at this time. In continuing coverage, Montana Rail Link says it could take several weeks before a coal train derailment northwest of Knoxon is completely cleaned up. About 30 cars derailed Sunday night, spilling an unknown amount of coal along the banks and into the Clark Fork River along Highway 200. An MRL spokesperson says the rail company is working with state and federal agencies to ensure a successful cleanup. They say very little coal spilled into the Clark Fork, but they don't know exactly how much. MRL says they are cooperating with the Federal Railroad Administration to investigate what happened. No word yet on what caused the accident. In national news tonight, President Donald Trump is coming under fire from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle for his latest remarks on the events in Charlottesville, Virginia over the weekend. During a surprise news conference, the president placed blame on both sides involved in the chaos. Brooke Silva-Braga has the latest from outside Trump Tower in New York.
Yes, I think there's blame on both sides.
A combative President Trump returned to his original assessment of the race-fueled clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia Tuesday, saying the blame should be shared.
You had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now.
The statement won praise from former KKK leader David Duke, but lawmakers, even Republicans, expressed outrage. Senator Marco Rubio tweeted, "You can't allow white supremacists to share only part of blame." Senator John McCain wrote, "There's no moral equivalency between racists and Americans standing up to defy hate and bigotry. The President of the United States should say so."
Racism, bigotry, anti-Semitism of any form is unacceptable.
The president was also asked if Chief Strategist Steve Bannon, who's been linked to the alt-right, will remain in his administration. The president declined to say if Bannon would keep his job, but did defend his character.
We'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon, but he's a good person, and I think the press treats him, frankly, very unfairly.
Trump also questioned if tearing down Confederate statues would lead to calls to remove monuments to slave-owning founding fathers.
I wonder, is it George Washington next week, and is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
Several executives have recently resigned in protest from the president's manufacturing council. Mr. Trump said they can easily be replaced. Brooke Silva-Braga for CBS News, New York.
The president did denounce the alleged driver of the car who plowed into counter-protesters on Saturday, calling him a murderer. Back in the Flathead, the Kalispell Chamber of Commerce looks to the future of the city after receiving national recognition at a recent conference. The Kalispell Chamber of Commerce recently attended the Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives annual convention in July. Along with the awards in communication and membership, the chamber also finished in the top 3 for Chamber of the Year. And when it came to communications, Kalispell finished first above 120 other communications projects across the nation and Canada. Communication and marketing specialist at the chamber says their major focus moving forward is downtown Kalispell.
Really create this vibrant, energetic downtown, and so some projects around building that and keeping the momentum going are things that we'll be looking at over the next year.
These awards are even more impressive when you consider there are more than 7,000 chambers of commerce across North America. In Missoula, Montana's Department of Higher Education says the University of Montana is just following policy after about 40 lecturers were told their contracts may not be renewed in 2018. Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education Kevin McRae says it's part of an ongoing effort at UM to align faculty expenses with revenue. McRae says guidelines require cuts based on enrollment made to faculty must begin with non-tenure track employees, and that none of the roughly 40 lecturers were eligible for tenure, something those employees are aware of. McRae explains those jobs are per semester contracts, and UM is required to provide at least 1 semester's notice before removing those positions. But nothing is set in stone. McRae says if the need for some of these lecturers is there, they can be offered new contracts this spring.
Depending on the program, depending on the department, if the university after the fall semester finds itself in a situation of wanting to extend an offer to a lecturer for spring semester, we believe the university will have that option.
McRae tells us it all comes down to enrollment numbers and available revenue, and that non-renewals of contracts do not reflect on the lecturers. A World War II Marine from Missoula fulfills a promise he made to himself and to a Japanese soldier who died 73 years ago. This week, 93-year-old Marvin Strombo traveled 10,000 miles to return a flag he took on the battlefield in Japan in '44 to return it to the soldier's family. It was inscribed with well wishes from the family and friends of Sato Yasu. It was customary for Japanese soldiers to take something with them to war for good luck. While on patrol in Saipan, Strombo found Yasu's body. He took the flag from Yasu with the promise that he would keep it safe and return it to the man's family someday. It was a very emotional moment for everyone.
I knew what it meant to the family, you know, because we heard what it meant to the family, and I couldn't take it off that soldier And I finally realized if I didn't take it, somebody else wouldn't. It'd be lost forever.
The family actually didn't know much about Sato's death, but believed he was killed in July of '44 when he was just 25 years old. They never even had a body to bury. Marvin tried to learn his identity years ago, but language barriers made it really hard till the internet came along, and then with the help of an organization that helps U.S. soldiers return flags to Japanese families, he was able to find the man's family. Truly an awesome story there. And coming up, Erin says we'll be back to hot and hazy conditions before too long. Her forecast in just a few minutes. Plus, new developments tonight in the ongoing tensions with North Korea. Stay tuned for reaction from Washington.